But when you talk about genetic sequencing and taking skulls of extinct animals that have been extinct for 10,000 years, this isn't like digging up your dog that died last year. This is 10,000 years these skulls have been in the ground, and piecing together enough DNA.
From two skulls, the tooth of one skull and a skull from another animal, and they separate by thousands of years, the two animals. So they have a very good, detailed genome. It's pretty extensive.
And then to stitch that together, right? Because, you know, DNA is this ladder with these amino acids in it, and they all link together. And I think at one point he told me that some of the proteins weren't even around anymore. And say they stick this whole thing together and create a live form of this DNA.
Yeah.
And then put it into the nearest living species, which I guess was another wolf species.
Yeah.
And then birth a 10,000-year-old wolf.
And they're finding out all these things about them they didn't know. They didn't know they had all white hair. They didn't know they had manes. So these animals have manes almost like a lion.
Yeah.
And they're young, so their manes are still growing.
Yeah.
And they're so different looking than a regular wolf. They're all stocky and
like kind of like a short, stocky, wide pit bull. Well, they were in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know, so you're restoring the old Game of Thrones wolves, which I think is fascinating. And, you know, the whole idea that, I mean, of course, everybody goes, oh, that's so scary, but it gets scary in a way. But, you know, restoring extinct species or near extinct species is a good thing. You know, white rhinos, red wolves.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to bring back a thing like a dire wolf, though. It is weird.
It is.
They have them tightly under wraps, and there's only 3 of them. But I'm like, well, what if somebody else does this and releases them? Like, this is not something that once you've acknowledged that you have this technology.
It's like the Wuhan lab theory.
You can't hide this from people. Like, what about saber-toothed tigers? What about, there's a lot of animals that somebody could create, just let loose.
Well, if you can bring something back from 10,000 years ago, can you bring it back from 1,000,000 years ago?
Well, they can't with dinosaurs because the DNA is too old. But what he said was you could actually create a dinosaur, though. Like, you couldn't, like, take a dinosaur and bring it back to life, but you could stitch together the DNA from a bunch of different birds and reptiles and create a dinosaur, which is where it gets really fucking weird because you could have a designer dinosaur.
Wow, that's wild.
It is wild.
So you could actually design like a T-Rex.
Yeah, he was explaining how it could be done.